Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the 2018 reboot of Dr. Seuss's iconic story, The Grinch.
This movie takes a more emotional story of the Grinch on not just how he stole Christmas, but why he stole Christmas.
Right. And we know that when the movie came out, it took us a while to finally see this one. And we saw that the reviews were sort of mixed. Some people thought it was pretty good, an interesting new take. And some thought it was lame and it was nothing like the original Grinch story, which seems to be a common thing with the recent Dr. Seuss movies. They seem to not like any movie adaptations, like the Lorax and Cat in the Hat and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, for here, I kind of took it as a more in-depth look at the Grinch, because you had the original with Boris Karloff in the 60s, right?
That's correct.
And it stuck to the story line for line, detail for detail.
It's been played every year for decades.
Right.
So children of all ages have now become familiar with this classic.
Right. And then you have the 2000 version live action with Jim Carrey playing a very mean-spirited Grinch, but still snarky, and it was really kooky, and you got a backstory on why he hated Christmas, but it was a more of a edge to it,
which we also liked very much, and we did a podcast last year on it if you'd like to listen to it. Unlike most of the critics, we really did like his portrayal and think he did a great job bringing the character to life,
right,
and putting it into a 3D world rather than 2D.
Right. And then for this version, this version of Grinch is very different as the Jim Carrey one was. This one sort of had him more of like just pretty much a grouch, not a Grinch in terms of him, hating Christmas, wanting to take it away so no one else enjoys it. And here he's just really lonely.
Yeah.
And holidays depress him because he had no family growing up, no one adopted him. Christmas was always a horrible time for him because he was always alone, and that's why he wants to steal Christmas in this version, because like, why anyone else enjoy it and he can never enjoy it himself.
And this one also, he was more endearing, and you were more empathetic with what happened to him. And as you said, he was very nice to Max. You could tell he loved Max.
Right.
You could tell that he actually had interactions with people, and he got along with people.
Right.
He just, as you said, when it came down to that time of year, he just wanted nothing to do with it.
We thought it was a little odd in the trailer at first because there was no explanation to what version they were doing. That he was going to town, no one was scared of him, or hating him, and none of that happened. He was just like one of those hermit neighbors or something you see on TV that just doesn't like to deal with people, and that was it. He had neighbors. One was a super friendly neighbor to him. People knew him. It's just he just didn't like being in the town, and that was it. It wasn't extreme or anything. It was just he didn't like being around these people. That was it. It was pretty straightforward. And I think people didn't like that it was so different from what's been done for decades for the Grinch and the original story. And I think that's probably why people were not fond of it and just said it was a boring film, because he wasn't being the mean Mr. Grinch as the song indicates.
Well, that's kind of what art is about sometimes, is taking something we're familiar with, seeing it in a new light, in a different way, and making it, in times like this one, more relatable. You empathize with him. You didn't dislike him. You didn't want to go, you mean old Mr. Grinch. You were kind of like, oh, I see. And you saw how he made an effort once he knew people cared about him. He went to the party and he put on a tie and he did all these things. No spoilers since it's the holiday. And I think Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job of voicing him and conveying all the different emotions and things that were going on with the Grinch in this version. And you had a couple other live action stars, I should say, that I've also done some voiceover work, like Rashida Jones. And you had Kenan Thompson,
as the neighbor. That was hilarious.
Right. And you had Angela Lansbury, who was in the original Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And our Nana watches her on, what's the name of it? Now, How to Get Away with Murder.
It's, what's about
Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, okay.
Murder, She Wrote. But she's Dame, I think she's Dame Angela Lansbury now. And she's being an actress for decades on stage and screen. So that was really a surprise. And then we had Carlos Alazarki, Rocco's Martin Live, and some other ones. So it had some really great surprise appearances for characters.
Yeah. And we also mentioned you also still had Cindy Lou Who, and this time her version was different. While in the first version it was just her. You didn't even see her family. Like, you sure this kid has a family? Then in the second one, she had this big family that just didn't pay much attention to her because of all the holiday stuff, which had its own message. And in this one, she just had the mom and 2 baby brothers, but she was really, really nice. It wasn't a sort of trope where they have this one kid that's sort of, not the nicest kid there, but they're nice and stuff. She was actually really nice. Everything was really endearing. One thing she wanted from Sam was her mom to be happy and be able to relax, and it was a more endearing take on just about everything, not just the characters and the Grinch and stuff, but the whole story was more lighthearted. It was more empathetic and in-depth on the whole story. Like, they took more attention to detail this time around, and it wasn't just him being mean and grouchy and stealing everything for the fun of it and stuff. It was more of like a moral to it, and something that you get something from it. And maybe that was just the problem for the long time fans who are used to the grouchy, mean-spirited Grinch that we've known.
And also, it was a shorter version originally, in the classic version.
Right.
This one was an hour and 25 minutes. It took the story and expanded it.
Right.
And on IMDb, it actually got 6.3 out of 10 stars.
So it's a little over half.
Yeah, there are people that appreciate this version. And if you haven't seen it, it will be a great idea next holiday to take a look at it and give it a try. And see what you think. You can always stop it after 10 minutes or so if you don't like it.
Right.
But we think you'll be fairly surprised at the great job the writers did, the voice actors did, and Benedict Cumberbatch did.
Right. So, now, to close off, I definitely want to say, yeah, you definitely would have to watch it, even if you don't care for it. It's something different, yes, but it's something to it. It's like seeing it through a new perspective on why. And never thought you would want to know that, kind of like with Green Eggs and Ham and making that into a whole story. But it was a great idea anyway, and I'm glad that Illumination Entertainment went through with this, even with the critics saying it was just a cash grab. I think it was a great idea to do this story, and maybe they'll do more Dr. Seuss stories in the future if Netflix doesn't beat them to it.
Right. So if you have seen this Dr. Seuss's The Grinch 2018 version, let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah. And make sure you give us a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And to get notifications, click on the bell so you know when we have new podcasts.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a tune-tastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in